Before we look at any example problems, let's just get a quick orientation to the chart that we're working on. For this chart, we're looking at the area surrounding Durban Harbor. We'll be working along the coastline, and you've got two compass roses, which you can use on the chart. You can use whichever compass rose is nearer to your workings for the specific problem that you're working on. And remember, it's critical anytime that we're measuring a direction on the chart, we're going to use the outer of the two circles, which is the degrees true compass rose. In addition to that, let's get a quick orientation to the latitude and longitude scale. The latitude scale is on the left-hand side of the chart. I like to think about the world as a whole when I first look at the chart to determine where I am. We're on the coast of South Africa, so we're in the southern hemisphere. And although they've not told us specifically, they've told us that this is 30 degrees, and you could note that that's 30 degrees south on your chart, since we're in South Africa, southern hemisphere. We don't have another whole degree of latitude represented on the chart, but we know that we would count up as we moved away from the equator. So anything below this line on our chart is going to be 30 degrees and a fraction, whereas anything above it will be 29 degrees and some fraction. Looking at the longitude scale, 31 degrees is represented here, and again, that's the only whole degree of longitude represented on the chart. So we need to know that because we're in South Africa, this will be 31 degrees east, and anything to the right is going to be 31 and some fraction, whereas anything to the left will be 30 degrees and some fraction east. On that same note, looking up at the top left-hand side of the chart, this value here, 30 minutes, represents 29 degrees and 30 minutes of south latitude. Each of these alternating shaded and unshaded boxes will represent 1 minute further south. So 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35 minutes, 29 degrees and 35 minutes of south latitude. And then looking within each of those minutes, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decimal places. So each of those decimals will be decimal 2. Also, important to note that each of these minutes of latitude will be equal to 1 nautical mile for our workings. A full 5 minutes of latitude here would be 5 nautical miles. And it's important for distance that we're always measuring distance on the left-hand side, the latitude scale of our chart, because this will be consistent as we move north and south, whereas our longitude scale will change moving north and south. So we're never measuring distance on the top or bottom of the chart.